Chair recognizes the gentleman from Oregon, Mr. Blumenauer, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's been my privilege to work on issues of reduction of greenhouse gases for over 25 years. I was Portland's Commissioner of Public Works. We became the first American city with a comprehensive approach to deal with it. For 4 years, I was pleased to serve on Speaker Pelosi's Select Committee on Climate Change, Global Warming, and Energy Independence, where we had an opportunity to work with people around the world, looking at the impacts, dealing with dozens of hearings, hundreds of experts concerned with the challenge, the even greater problems that we are facing in the future. Yet, I would say that in the years that I've been working on it, I don't think I've seen a better, more effective statement than what appeared in yesterday's Washington Post, an essay by Bill McKibben entitled "See No Climate Change." He said, you should not wonder, is this somehow related to the tornado outbreak 3 weeks ago in Tuscaloosa, or the enormous outbreak a couple weeks before with the most active tornado season in Americans' history? You should not connect in your mind the fires burning across Texas, fires that have burned more of America at this point this year than any wildfires in previous years, or that the adjoining parts of Oklahoma and New Mexico are drier now than they've ever been, much worse than during the Dust Bowl. You should not wonder whether this year's record snowfalls and rainfalls across the Midwest, resulting in record flooding along the Mississippi, could somehow be related. There have been tornadoes before. There will be tornadoes again. That's the important thing. Be careful to make sure you don't let yourself wonder while all these record-breaking events are happening in such proximity. That is why there have been unprecedented mega floods in Australia, New Zealand, and Pakistan in the last year. Why it's just now that the Arctic has melted for the first time in thousands of years. He goes on, because if you ask yourself what it meant that the Amazon has just gone through its second 100-year flood in 5 years, or that the pine forests across the west of this continent have been obliterated by the bark beetles, you might have to ask other questions. It's better to join with the U.S. House of Representatives, who voted 240 to 184 this spring to defeat a resolution saying simply that climate change is occurring, is caused largely by human activities, and poses significant risk for human welfare. Propose your own physics. Ignore physics altogether. Just don't start asking yourself whether there might be some relationship among last year's failed grain harvest in the Russian heat wave and Queensland's failed grain harvest from its second flood and Germany and France's current drought-related crop failures. It's important, Bill says, to remain calm. If the worst ever did come to worse, it's reassuring to remember that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce told the Environmental Protection Agency in recent filings that there's no need to worry because populations can acclimate to warmer climates via a range of behavioral, physiological, and technological adaptations. Bill says, I'm sure that's what the residents in Joplin, Missouri are telling themselves today. Mr. Speaker, I couldn't agree more. It is important for Americans to think about how these pieces fit together. And members of Congress should ask themselves 2 questions. First, even if you don't believe the experts on the danger of science of climate change, shouldn't we be taking extraordinary steps to stop wasting more energy than anybody in the world and exporting billions of dollars overseas to other countries for our energy? That's question one. The second question that I hope members of Congress will ask themselves, if 99.9% of the scientists are right and we're doing it to ourselves? Thank you, and I yield back.